Hello, hello, and welcome back to Let's Master English. This is your host, Sarah, and I am so excited to dive into today's topic. It's about a tool that is incredibly simple, profoundly effective, completely free, and yet so many language learners overlook it. We're going to talk about how to use journaling to supercharge your English skills. Now, when I say journaling, some of you might be picturing a small, locked diary filled with teenage secrets. I want you to banish that image from your mind. For an English learner, a journal is not a diary. It's a gymnasium. It's a laboratory. It's a private, judgment-free space where you can experiment with the language, build your linguistic muscles, and make the kind of beautiful mistakes that are essential for growth. The fear of the blank page is real. I get it. You sit down, pen in hand or fingers on the keyboard, and your mind goes blank. What do I write about? My day was boring. What if my grammar is terrible? What if I can't find the right words? If that sounds like you, then this episode is your antidote. We are going to dismantle that fear piece by piece. I'm going to give you practical, step-by-step strategies, techniques for every level from absolute beginner to advanced, and inspiring examples from learners all over the world. By the end of our time together, you'll see your notebook not as a test, but as your single greatest ally on the path to fluency. Part 1. Why journaling works, the science of writing it down. Before we get into the how, let's quickly cover the why. Understanding the cognitive benefits will motivate you to stick with the practice. First, journaling forces active recall. When you listen to a podcast or read a book in English, you are engaged in passive recognition. You're recognizing words and structures that are presented to you. This is important, but it's only half the battle. Journaling, however, requires active recall. You have to pull words, grammar, and sentence structures out of your brain and put them onto the page. This active retrieval is exponentially more powerful for cementing information in your long-term memory. It's the difference between seeing a map of a city and actually having to navigate its streets yourself. Second, it builds the thinking in English bridge. One of the biggest hurdles to fluency is the habit of thinking in your native language and then translating every sentence in your head before you speak or write. This is slow, exhausting, and often leads to unnatural phrasing. Journaling is a safe, low-pressure environment to practice forming thoughts directly in English. You're having a conversation with yourself, and there's no time pressure. Over time, this practice builds new neural pathways, making it easier and more automatic to think in English in real-time conversations. Third, it creates a personal error log. When you speak, your mistakes vanish into thin air, but when you write, they're right there on the page, staring back at you. This isn't something to be afraid of. It's an incredible gift. Your journal becomes a diagnostic tool. You can look back over a week's worth of entries and see patterns. Wow, I always mix up for and since. Or I consistently forget the third-person S in the present tense. Identifying these patterns is the first and most crucial step to correcting them for good. Finally, it's a massive confidence builder. There is no one looking over your shoulder. There is no red pen, no grade, no judgment. It is your space to be messy, to be imperfect, and to communicate. Every entry you complete is a small victory, proof that you can express yourself in English. This quiet confidence gradually spills over into your speaking and other interactions. Part 2. Your first entry, how to defeat the blank page. All right, let's get practical. You have your notebook or a blank document. Now what? Here are 3 simple, effective ways to start, no matter what your level. Trick 1. The 5-minute free write. This is the golden rule for overcoming inertia. Set a timer on your phone for just 5 minutes. The only rule is that you cannot stop writing until the timer goes off. Don't worry about spelling. Don't worry about perfect grammar. Don't even worry if it makes sense. If you can't think of what to write, write, "I don't know what to write." until a new thought comes. The goal here is purely momentum. It's about teaching your brain that the act of writing in English is not scary. 5 minutes is such a small commitment that it's almost impossible to say no to.
Trick 2. The power of prompts. Sometimes all you need is a little nudge. Using prompts is like having a conversation starter for your journal. Here are some you can use, categorized by type. Daily life prompts, beginner friendly. What did you eat for breakfast, lunch, or dinner today? Describe it. Write down 3 things you are grateful for today. What is the weather like right now? How does it make you feel? Describe your journey to work or school. What did you see? What are your plans for tomorrow or for the weekend? Opinion and reflection prompts, intermediate. What is your favorite movie, book, or song? Why do you love it? If you could have any superpower, what would it be and why? What is one thing you would like to change about your city or town? Write about a person you admire. What qualities do they have? What is a skill you would love to learn? How would you start? Descriptive and storytelling prompts, advanced. Describe your favorite place in the world using all 5 senses. Write about a happy memory from your childhood in detail. Imagine you are 100 years old. What advice would you give to your younger self? Invent a new holiday. What is it called, and how do people celebrate it? Trick 3. The What I Learned log. This is a fantastic, structured approach that directly ties your journaling to your studies. At the end of each day, simply write down 1. New word I learned today. For example, resilient. Its meaning in my own words. For example, able to recover quickly from difficult situations. 3. A personal sentence using the word. For example, my grandmother is a very resilient woman. She has overcome many challenges in her life. That's it. It's a tiny entry, but it forces you to actively process and personalize new vocabulary, making it far more likely to stick. Part 3. Journaling in Action. Stories from our global community. Let's look at how learners from around the world have adapted journaling to fit their specific needs and goals. Example 1. Klaus from Munich, Germany. The Grammar Detective. Klaus is an engineer, and he brings an analytical mindset to his language learning. His biggest frustration was making the same fossilized grammar mistakes over and over, especially with English prepositions. So he developed a system. He uses his journal to write about his day or his hobbies for about 15 minutes. He doesn't worry about mistakes as he writes. The magic happens the next day. He comes back to his entry with a red pen and acts as a grammar detective. Crucially, he only looks for one type of error at a time. On Mondays, he hunts for preposition mistakes, in, on, at. On Tuesdays, he checks for subject-verb agreement. On Wednesdays, he looks for article usage, a, an, the. This focused approach prevents him from feeling overwhelmed and allows him to systematically identify and correct his most common errors. His journal has become a personalized grammar textbook based on his own mistakes.
Example 2. Ananya from Mumbai, India, the fluency thinker. Ananya's English was already quite good, but she felt she was still translating in her head, which made her speaking slow and hesitant. Her goal was to start thinking in English. She uses her journal for stream of consciousness writing. She puts on some instrumental music, opens her journal, and just writes whatever comes into her mind without stopping and without judgment. An entry might look like this. Okay, I need to remember to buy milk after this. The coffee this morning was really good. I wonder if that new cafe is open yet. Oh, that reminds me of the cafe in that movie. The one with the green door. What was it called? It doesn't matter. My back is a little sore today, probably from sitting too long. I should really try that yoga video I saved on YouTube. It's messy and unstructured, but it serves a powerful purpose. It is a direct brain-to-page exercise in English, bypassing the translation filter completely. Ananya says this daily practice has made her thinking in English far more fluid and automatic, which has had a huge impact on her spoken fluency. Example 3. Javier from Santiago, Chile, the storyteller. Javier loves fiction and cinema. He found that simply writing about his day was boring, so he turned his journal into a creative outlet. Every day, he writes a tiny piece of a story. Sometimes he describes a fictional character he imagined on the bus. Other times, he writes a short dialogue between two people. He even rewrites the ending of a movie he just watched. This creative approach keeps him highly motivated. More importantly, it pushes him to use a much wider range of vocabulary and sentence structures than daily life writing would. He's constantly looking up words for emotions, descriptions, and actions. His journal isn't just improving his English, it's making him a more creative storyteller. Part 4. Leveling up. Advanced journaling techniques. Once you've built a consistent habit, you can introduce more sophisticated techniques to target specific skills. Technique 1. The summary and response journal. This is perfect for improving comprehension and critical thinking. After you read an article, watch a TED Talk, or listen to a podcast, like this one, do 2 things in your journal. 1. Summarize. Write a short paragraph explaining the main ideas in your own words. This forces you to process the information deeply, not just passively receive it. 2. Respond. Write a second paragraph with your own opinion. Do you agree or disagree? Did it surprise you? Did it connect to anything in your own life? This technique moves you from a simple language user to a critical thinker in English. Technique 2. The rewrite and refine method. This is one of my personal favorites. Go back to a journal entry you wrote last week or last month. Now rewrite it, but this time give yourself a specific challenge. Level up vocabulary. Can you replace 5 simple words like good, sad, walk with more descriptive, powerful alternatives like excellent, melancholy, stroll? Vary sentence structure. If you used a lot of short, simple sentences, can you combine some of them using conjunctions, and, but, so, or create more complex sentences?
Change the tense. Try rewriting a paragraph about your day in the future tense, as if you were planning it. Or write about a childhood memory in the present tense, as if it were happening now. This is a fantastic grammar workout. This exercise beautifully illustrates your own progress and actively teaches you the art of editing. Technique 3, the dialogue journal. To improve your conversational English, write dialogues. It sounds simple, but it's incredibly effective. Write a dialogue between yourself, a friend, a shopkeeper, or a new colleague. This helps you practice asking and answering questions, using informal language and slang, keeping a conversation flowing, and thinking about what the other person might say. It's like a rehearsal for real-life conversations, but with an unlimited amount of time to think of the perfect response.
Part 5, Closing the Loop. How to get feedback and correct yourself. Okay, so you're writing every day, but how do you know you're not just practicing your own mistakes? This is where the feedback loop comes in. 1. Be your own first teacher. Let your entries cool down. Wait at least a day before you reread an entry. With fresh eyes, you will be amazed at how many of your own typos and simple errors you can spot. Use Klaus's method of checking for one error type at a time. 2. Use technology wisely. Tools like Grammarly or the Hemingway app can be helpful for catching basic errors. Use the free versions to spot obvious typos and grammatical slips. But be critical. These tools are not perfect and sometimes make strange suggestions. Use them as a guide, not as an absolute authority. Their greatest value is in flagging potential issues for you to investigate further. 3. Find a journal buddy or tutor. You don't need someone to correct every single entry. That's overwhelming for both of you. Instead, once a week, choose one paragraph you are particularly proud of and ask a language exchange partner, a teacher, or a tutor to review it. By giving them a small, specific sample, you're more likely to get high-quality, focused feedback. 4. Create a master error log. This is the ultimate power move. Get a separate notebook or a section at the back of your journal. When you identify a recurring mistake through self-correction or feedback, log it. Column 1, the mistake. Write the full sentence with the error. For example, I have been living here since 3 years. Column 2, the correction. Write the correct sentence. For example, I have been living here for 3 years. Column 3, the rule. Briefly explain the rule in your own words. For example, use for with a period of time. Use since with a specific starting point. Reviewing this personal error log once a week is one of the fastest ways to eliminate your most persistent mistakes because it's 100% tailored to you. Final thoughts from Sarah. Your journal is a journey. The first page will look different from the 50th, which will look different from the 200th. It is a living document of your progress. On days when you feel like you're not improving, you can look back at an entry from 6 months ago and see with your own eyes how far you've come. So, I challenge you. Forget about perfection. Forget about having an exciting day to write about. Just start. Grab a notebook, open a document, set a timer for 5 minutes and write. Describe the room you're in. Write about the cup of tea next to you. Write about your hopes for this English learning journey. Just begin. Your future fluent self will thank you for it. That's all the time we have for today on Let's Master English. Happy journaling! Keep learning, keep growing, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye for now.